Greetings to the one and all present here. Today, our team is thrilled to present our project on a concept that's not just limited to textbook but something we'll all experience every day. Imagine a world where every decision we make, from buying a cup of coffee to saving for our retirement, is often driven by a logic alone. But the reality is often far away from it. We humans are emotional and often unpredictable. That's where behavioral economics comes in. Today, in this presentation, we'll uncover how our decisions are often influenced by psychological factors, why we don't always act in our best interest, and how business and policymakers are using these insights to shape the world around us. So let's explore together how behavioral economics gives us a deeper understanding of human behavior, while the traditional economic theories provides us the models based on rational decision making, where behavioral economics takes us far beyond these numbers and charts. To begin with, now let's know about what's behavioral economics.
So, what is behavioral economics? It is nothing but that provides a more accurate understanding of human behavior. It is basically the combination of psychology and economics to understand how people make decisions in everyday life. You see, traditional economics assumes that people always make rational choices, but behavioral economics says that people make decisions according to the environmental influences and certain factors that affects people minds and emotions. It mainly targets that people and emotions are really interconnected. We are going to see what are the key concepts and what are the factors that are affecting people's choices in this presentation. So, before diving into the topic, let's start with a real world example. In the early 2000s, behavioral economists discovered a huge discrepancy in organ donation rates across European countries. Countries like Germany, where citizens were asked to opt in to become organ donors. So basically, if a person born in that country and needed to donate their organs, they need to go through certain authentications and certain registration process. So shockingly, that made just 12 percentage of their population to donate their organs. Not because they were against organ donation, but because they didn't take the time to actively opt in. However, in neighboring Austria, the organ donation rate was over 99%. So, guess what's the difference? It's very simple. In Austria, they used an opt out system where people were automatically enrolled as organ donors unless they specifically chose not to be. The small difference in the default setting led to a massive change in behavior. Most people stayed in the program because opting out required an extra one step. It turns out that people tend to stick with the default choice. This is a powerful example of how small tweaks in the way choices are presented can lead to dramatic changes in behavior. By simply changing the default from opt in to opt out, Austria was able to drastically increase its organ donation rate without forcing anyone to become a donor. Let's move on to the next topic.
We'll see about the key concepts of behavioral economics. First is heuristics. Heuristics are like mental shortcuts that reduce the complexity of decision making. For example, we don't compare all the features of two products. Rather, we'll just see whether the product is expensive or not and we'll choose the least expensive. Next is loss aversion. Loss aversion is tendency to prefer avoiding losses over acquiring equivalent gains. For example, let's take two cases. In the first case, there is a $5 gain and no losses, and second case, there is $50 gain and a $50 losses. People will of course choose $5 gain because the pleasure from gain is always greater than pain from the losses we get. Next is framing effect. Framing effect is a cognitive bias where people make decisions based on how information is presented. For example, take this. The frozen yogurt of 20% fat and 80% fat free. Though both product gives the same information about it, people choose optimistic fact rather than less optimistics. Next is biases. Biases are the systematic patterns of deviation from rationality in judgment, where people prefer to choose a product from their point of view and their belief rather than available evidence and facts. Next is social normalization is how individual decisions and behaviors are influenced by social norms where people tend to align with the other people in the society. For example, let's say the steel bottles. They have normalized the usage of steel bottles in our society rather than plastic bottles due to social normalization.
Netflix. Let's take a look at how Netflix uses the key concepts of behavioral economics to optimize our experience on their platform. First, Netflix simplifies decision making with heuristics. Ever notice the top 10 in your country feature or the personalized recommendations? This taps into the availability heuristic. Instead of spending time scrolling through endless options, we are more likely to click on what's popular or recommended to us because it feels like a safe, trusted choice. Netflix makes it easy for us to believe that if it's trending, it must be good. Next, Netflix plays on anchoring biases, especially with its pricing models. They present the most expensive plan, the premium or the standard option, as the first choice. This acts like a mental anchor, making the mid-tier op plans seems like a bargain in comparison. Even if we don't go for the top plan, we are more likely to choose the mid-tier option because it feels more reasonable after seeing the higher price first. It also uses social normalization to keep us engaged. You've probably seen they're trending now or popular in your country banners. This taps into the bandwagon effect, where we feel more inclined to watch what others are watching. By showing what's more popular, Netflix gives us the impression that we are part of a collective experience, nudging us to watch the same content as everyone else. Netflix's use of framing effect is genius. They customize content thumbnails and descriptions based on your viewing habits. For the same show, they might show an action scene to someone who loves thrillers, while showing a romantic scene to fans of rom coms. By framing the same content differently, they increase the chances of you clicking play, making it seem tailor made just for you. And lastly, there is loss aversion. Netflix autoplay feature is the perfect example. After finishing an episode, the next one starts automatically. Why? Because we are more likely to keep watching if we feel like we are losing something, like momentum in the story or immediate entertainment. The fear of missing out or losing the progress we have made keeps us glued to our screens, making binge watching more common.
In conclusion to the given topic, we have gained a deeper understanding of how human psychology plays a crucial role in decision making that traditional economic theories fails to explain us. We have discussed the key concepts of behavioral economics, and we have also discussed a real world example of Netflix, which has brilliantly tapped into behavioral economics to keep the users engaged and satisfied. This example highlights how powerful these concepts can be when applied effectively. Eventually, understanding behavioral economics allows us to see beyond just numbers and rationality, offering a more realistic and practical view of how people behave in the real world. Thank you.